It's a QE world after all. It's a QE world after all. We just keep on reminding you. We've been telling you this for years now, decades at this point, and we're having a little bumpy part of the road of the QE. It'll clean itself up. There'll be no problems. Everything will be okay. I understand there is a buyer for, as far as I'm concerned, what I hear is there's definitely interest in Swiss Bank. So, in other words, I don't believe it's going to go under. But anything's possible when your stock is only $1.75 or $2 at this point. That's bankruptcy prices to begin with. And you can see this morning, Europe is having its issues. Hey, George, what were we talking? You were talking about something at the end of the day. What were we talking about? We started to get into a subject area that we could have definitely explored greater. That's for sure. What else is going on here this morning? You can see the dollar indexes on J4X. You see it's moving down here a little bit again, as usual. And over here on Chicago Quant, same thing, moving down. So the indices themselves are reflecting no massive run towards the dollar, but at the same time, and good morning, good afternoon, world, and good evening also. It's, what is it now? It's 10:31 p.m. in Tokyo. Here it's 8:31 a.m. Eastern Standard, now 8:32. Let's put the euro up on the screen also, just to show you how the world is not exactly contagioning. You can see the euro itself is also down, and we'll put it up over here. Where is it? Oh, let's go over there from the dollar index. That's the GBP. You can see GBP is down. You can see the euro is down, and so is the dollar. The question is, who is up? I guess we should look at gold. Maybe gold is up. What was it we were talking about yesterday? Oh, if oil bottomed yet. Let's go there, because I know it's flirting with the sell. But we'll have to go explore here in a few seconds and try to figure out, or a few minutes, or when we find time again, we'll go look and see what currency is taking off versus we see the dollar, not taking off. We see in the dollar index itself. We obviously know it is gaining against the euro, of course. But here, let's put up the spot. There's the spot. You can see crude oil there. Dismiss that. There we are. You can see right here, the weekly is being challenged again. There's a bill going through the House of Representatives, and it's going to be debated in about a week and a half. It's called H.R. 1. And Mr. Biden has signed a couple bills with the Republicans. So, yeah, PPI is out right now. February retail sales down 0.1%. Estimated was 0.1%. U.S. stock market seems to be just flat from the news itself. We can put that up there real quick, too. Right there. And this is the intraday. This is the 1.62 Tesla. And you can see that's what the bars are. And then obviously these are all our algorithms here. And you can see here, the news came out right here. Is that where it came out? Right there. So the news came out right there. They lifted the stock market up a little bit. The S&P's got up about 10 points from it. Fell back down to flat, went back up again, and now it's down below it again. Back into the the slide that's been going on. And then you can see here we have an enormous Tesla here, where it finally got into the buy there, and it went right back into the sell. Right, you see, it's the third one, so right there, and now it's trying to get back into the buy. That's still minus. This is still minus, so it's trying, but it's not doing too good a job here. It's trying to bounce. We're not seeing a bounce in the equity markets really. It's just a little firmness at the moment. Now let's go back to what George was. There you are. I was thinking about you, Timothy. Let's get your thing up there on the screen. Also, we'll shrink this down. No, wrong way. Move that over like so. There we are. And then move that over like so. Oh, let's disconnect that. There we are. And there is the, what is that? That's the 1 minute on the top. That's the cable. And then let's put the 15-minute on below it. And that'll be up there for the whole webinar for you. We are working to get this thing live for you and many others that want to see our work live. So, hey, Metho! So they're saying, what are they saying about retail sales? That's about it. It's basically flat from the action. And as you can see here, let's widen this out a little bit because you don't really need to. Let's see if we can go like that. There we go. There's the 15-minute. You see it's trying to turn up in here. And then you can see the 1 minute turned up a while ago. It did. Now it's already rolling over. Matter of fact, that's turning into a sell right there as we speak after going into the buy back in. Where'd it go in the buy? Went into the buy right here. And then follow the green line. And you can see it ran up, but it still hasn't. It's trying to get into the sell as we speak right now in 29 seconds. So was out of town for a while. How are you doing? Good. No complaints. It's been a lot of fun trading. It's been very profitable. I've been very happy with it. Great action. Love action. 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 I started the Monday singing the Disney song. It's a small world after all. It's like it's a QE world after all. A sip of the tea. So. Now you can see the action that's going on here. There's the S&P. I guess we could shrink this down a little bit more. Let's do that. Format that, and then we'll make that smaller. No, that's not it. It's the status line that needs to be shrunk down. We'll bring it down to something like 9. There we go. That's a lot better. So you can see there they're driving towards the lows of the day here on the S&P. There's a banking situation in Europe that's got everybody concerned. Bulls reaction coming from the new week opening gap. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll tell you. Let's see what we can do here. Let's move that up over there, like that, and let's take a look at. Let's look at the British pound. There's the euro on there. You can see that. Obviously, the dollar is gaining against that. That's for sure. But the index itself doesn't seem to be reflecting it. Now, there's the cable. Cable's doing the same thing. The dollar is gaining against the cable and flirting with the daily sell and trying to push itself back underneath the. Did it ever make? Didn't make the weekly buy. It missed it by the hair right there. You can see minus. There was like, what was it? 0. There it is. Minus 0. Minus 0.00010. It missed going into the weekly buy just by that much, but we were in the daily buy from here. So, at least it kept you relatively honest in the sense of not to stay short, that's for sure. Had you in that neutral zone, like where the Romulans are not supposed to pass through. I guess let's see what the Swiss is doing. Swiss is not gaining against the dollar. Who's gaining against the dollar that makes those stock indices go up? The yen is not gaining against the dollar. Oh, yeah, it is. Actually, the yen is gaining against the dollar. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's one. That's about, I think that's about 20-some-odd% of the stock index itself. So the number one currency in the stock index is the euro. It's like 52% of it or something like that. Then it's like 20-some-odd% is yen, 15% is GBP, something like 8 or 9% is like Canadian against the dollar. And so what is that? 5 euro, cable, Swiss, yen, Canadian, 5, and there's 2 more in there. So try that again. Euro, cable, Swiss, yen, euro, Canadian, and then the Swiss is in there, and the kroner's in there, and they're like 4% a piece. Something like that. So we're seeing that. Do I ever even? I don't think I even have a kroner. I must have the kroner up here somewhere, don't I? I used to have the kroner up there. There's the Canadian. See what the Canadian's doing against the dollar. It's losing against the dollar. So only one that's really gaining against it is the euro. Not the euro, the yen. So I'm not sure why money's running towards that, but that's what it's doing. Where are we at this point? Let's see if I answered everybody's questions. Oh yeah, so let's go back to George. He's questioning Are we going to see a bottom in oil? I think the HR1 is going to be very prolific. They are going to hold. Let's put it this way: Biden says, to tell you the truth, Biden says all kinds of weird things all the time. He's always been doing it. He doesn't live that far from here, and he's always been weird. So, he says one thing and then goes and does another all the time. It's no problem at all. And his ability to respect people's memory is almost zero. He thinks he can say anything and no one pays attention. So, he says he's signing the bill now for the Republicans for the crime bill. So he said he'd never sign it, but he's getting ready to sign it. So, I guess what happens is that when you show the light, the cockroaches run. And Mr. Biden is the cockroach. Well, I always think of him as more like a monkey. Jojo the monkey. I see him banging little cymbals, looking stupid because he is stupid. Oh, my God. Anyhow, we'll see how that all plays out. Now, back to the oil for George. And that is that, where is it at? Right here. I think that let's put it up on J4X and get a broad view. Let's get a broad view. There it is there. You can see that moving down. Now let's get a broad view of oil on J4X, like looking out. And I'm really not convinced they're going to keep the price up. All right, now you can see this 68, 70 area has been a good support for, I don't know, what's that, 6 months, 7 months since November? Late in November going into December. So, November and December, January and February, March, for 4.5, 5 months, it's been the big support. Now, when we contract that, we're coming back down to, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this. This is what I'm thinking. I think we're going to see like the low 60s because this HR1 coming out of the House of Representatives has enough votes to pass. And I understand there is 15 or 16 Democrat senators that are probably going to join in with it. Matter of fact, there were 18 Democrat senators that joined in on the crime bill. And so that makes it veto-proof. So I don't know. We're going to see. It's going to be interesting. I think oil's going to find a way to get back down into the low 60s. How's that? Boy, was that a long-winded answer or what? Sorry about that. Because we were trying to jump on some of the other currencies and figure out what's going on there, too, at the same time. So, yeah, that's where I'm at in my head. So now let's go back to, we saw cable. Let's take a look at cable again. There's cable. That's not cable. That is the Canadian against the dollar. There's cable. Right? You can see it's trying to move down. It's playing with the daily sell. It's having its issues. The fast has jumped across the zero line, but the slow is really battling with it. And then we go to the Swiss. You can see Swiss is bouncing back up again. I guess we could say that the best thing of all is that the Federal Reserve used QE back in, November, late December, to help Credit Suisse. When they pulled all that big money out of Credit Suisse and some of the major investors walked away, they did the swaps with the Central Bank of Switzerland, and so the Federal Reserve was lending money to Switzerland's central bank, and that probably went in and filled up the situation for Credit Suisse. So I'm not really convinced. I don't know if it's going to grow. I mean, it could become a $4 stock. It's trading at $1.75 now. It could be a $4 or $5 stock in the future. I think it could double from here. What do I think the chances of it going to zero from here? It's probably 50-50, but I think it's even less. It's probably like 35, 50, 65, something like that it won't do that. So in other words, I think it's probably got a 60+% chance of surviving. And that's probably because they did the work with the QE world, back in December and late November. Remember, I pointed it out, two consecutive swaps that were done. They said they needed $8 billion, and we talked about that, how Credit Suisse needed $8 billion. They had money coming due, and like 3 days later, I'm reporting that I saw the $3 billion swap go on with the central bank, and then a week later another $5 billion went on with the central bank, and all of a sudden things got quiet and stock kind of settled down in the $5-6 area, something like that. So, now the world is having its liquidity confidence thing, I think, going on. And so that's, for the regionals, I guess you could say, not the main center banks. And so you got Santander and the regular gang basically getting beat up as usual. Taking a sip of the tea there, excuse me. And so I think that's where we stand. So we'll keep an eye, George, on the oil, but I think it's going lower. We're going to go into the weekly sell, it looks like, with no problem this week. And, we've been in a daily sell. What is it, 4 days, 5 days? I think it's 5 days at this point. Let's see. Right. Yeah, there it is. So we've been in a daily sell since there. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is the 7th day in a sell. So now I'm not sure what that's all about. That seems to be wrong. I fixed June back month. They've yeah, see, that makes more sense. 6. I gotta go in and fix the June. Jan. You know what I'm gonna do? We're probably gonna get rid of April because it expires Friday, I think it is. So we'll probably move away from that, and we'll start moving both months out, and we'll start going out to we'll start looking at May oil, and then we'll probably go to July oil too for the back month. All right, where do we go from there? From there, we go back to the currencies. So we've made the statement of where we think oil's going. I think it's going to the low 60s because I think HR1 could do a lot of positiveness for oil in the United States. So I think that's what's going to happen. Let's take a look at right there. Where are we going to go at? Let's go to the yen. Now, the yen is kind of interesting in the sense that, it's not losing against the dollar, it's gaining against the dollar. So that's kind of different, Let's move the line down. You can see that, the zero line's right there. The fast has gone down. The fast algorithm has gone down below the zero line, and the slow is just playing with the manifold as we speak. That's kind of very bullish for the yen. Maybe this time we see it get to the 125 on this weekly sell. That would be what we were expecting 125 last time when we went into the weekly sell in the 138 area or 139, and what did we do? We got down to something like 128 or something like that. I think that's what it was. We got down to, there it is right there, on the 19th of January, I think it was. 16th of January, we got down to 127.22. Really thought this thing was going to touch the 25, and it didn't. Maybe this time around, since this is a lower high, when we contract this up, like that, you can see that's the lower high. So maybe this time they take out the lows there. We'll see. I have a feeling that, looking at the math, I have a feeling that, well, I always follow the math first anyway, but my personal feeling from reading it, and, I think that I believe the market wants to see a lower dollar. I really do. And every time they pop the dollar up, it makes lower highs now. So I really do think they want to bring the dollar down. Now the question is, Europe is supposed to, in other words, if China was what it said it is, then we could run the yuan. But the China currency is not really worth trading. So no one really, it only trades a couple of percentage points a day in volume. No one can trade the thing. It's a fixed thing. So you have to go to the second largest economy in the world instead. You have to go to the euro. And obviously Europe is having some issues this morning. And euro was looking great up until the banking situation again. Let's just put it up there. You can see it was coming off of the noise. There's the euro against the dollar, and it was starting to rally again, and we were flirting with the weekly. And then you have these financial issues, and Europe, being the second largest economy in the world, makes it the second most active currency in the world, and that gives places for the dollar to go, or let's say the investors to get out of the dollar and go into the euro, and then they diversify to the cable and the yen and so forth. But they can't really diversify to the Chinese yuan because it's just not liquid enough. It doesn't even float. There's a problem there. I don't know why I have to remind the world constantly of that fact. And it really confuses me. Like, am I crazy? Is China really the second largest economy in the world, or is it maybe like the fifth or sixth? I think it's the fifth or sixth. Because it trades like it's like the Swiss franc. It doesn't even trade as much as the Swiss franc or the kroner. So how can it be the second largest economy, and how can money be converted to the Chinese yuan when it doesn't trade? It's like, matter of fact, a friend of mine yesterday told me that the Mexican peso is talking about joining the BRICS. I said, that would be great. I said, finally, we got a solid currency in the BRICS. Because, the Russian ruble's junk, right? The Chinese yuan is junk. The Brazilian real is junk. You can't even get quotes on the Brazilian real. It's impossible. You got to have a bid and offer before you can trade it. And then at the same time, the South African rand is, it's like basically gold. You might as well trade gold instead of the South African rand. So in other words, when you like the dollar, you sell gold. When you hate the dollar, buy gold. Because it's the same thing as trading the rand, and the gold is much more liquid. And so then, where does it leave us with? Now if Mexican joins in, it's the only currency that would be a real solid currency in the BRICS. Now, the BRICS are too weak to be able to take the billions and trillions that are moved around every day, but it would be a start. As much as everybody wants to pretend it's already started and they're winning and and they're doing great, and it's like I don't see a quote in this. Matter of fact, my friend said to me yesterday, "What's the quote in it?" I said, "I don't know. I don't see it. There is no quote." He said, "Well, it's it's dominating the dollar now." And it's like, no, it's not dominating the dollar. And so it becomes that confusion. I see the second largest economy is European Union. It's 21 trillion. And they have a currency that trades every day, and you can buy billions of it, and you can sell billions of dollars, against it. But you can't do that to the yuan. And so I don't understand. Or the BRICS. It confuses me. When they can, trust me, traders, I'll be the first to be following it, because I'm a trader first. I'm not an ideologue. And so I just don't understand that whole twist that goes on like that. But anyway, let's skip that. Let's look at the yen there. Look at the yen. The yen seems to want to perform. And I think it wants to go to the 25 area too. I really do. I think it. They failed at it last time. There it is up on J4X there, and I think they want to bring it down into this area. I think they do. This is where that was at 115 area where Robin and I put the article out that it was going to take off and run up to maybe there. It kept on running. And it was like, it wouldn't back off. Once it started to run, it ran. And so at this point, I'm fascinated that the yen this morning is a flight to safety at the moment. Probably because it's like the third or fourth largest economy in the world. They have almost they're the largest investor in U.S. bonds. China is number 2. And so they have a lot of equity. So, you probably can move in and out a few billion here or there with no problem and not disturb the market, No trader wants to trade something that's illiquid because you become the market, and you don't want to become the market. So that's where we are now at that point. Let's jump over to leave the super yen and go over to the Turkish lira. And there's the Turkish lira. It's moving back down again. We went to the buy a couple days ago. Yesterday was pretty calm. That's good. Let's see what it looks like over here. right there. So you can, as you see here, it's breaking down there. The weekly tried to lift. You can see the fast. There's the zero line. You can see the fast algo is almost touching the plus side, but the slow is not. It doesn't have any interest in joining in. So we'll see, if that's the process or not. I would assume, that the reason we see a strong Turkish lira is because of the earthquakes that hit it, and all that money's coming in from relief and so forth. All right, from there, who's next on this hit parade? Then we go over and look at the CAD. There's the dollar CAD. And you can see there at the same time, let's show you oil over here. And there's the crude oil still dropping. This is, what is this, the June contract. Okay, good, because this is accurate. This matches the exchange. The April contract is a little screwy at the moment. And you can see right there, there's the zero line. And we've got, we talked about this 2 days ago. On Monday, the green and the fast broke the lower manifold, the minus manifold. And I said, 99% chance it goes into a weekly sell. And what has it done the last couple of days? It's fallen from, when it did that on Monday, it was trading at 75. And here we are now trading at 69.96. Isn't it great? I have to stop there. I love this. I can say these things out loud because there are webinars that you can see me saying this 3 days ago and 2 days ago. And I really like that. I like the idea that I can say what I want to say when I read my math. And it's not braggadocious. It's not being crazy. It could be crazy. That's me. But it's not being false. It's definitely not being false. Our math shows us this action, and that's what it is. And there is no way of stopping it because that's the math. Our math is that good. And it is it's interesting. It is interesting that the oil has, like, Steve Scalise. He's the majority leader. He was on one of the financial channels this morning, and then they've been really pressing this, and obviously the media is not going to cover it whatsoever. So it'll become a surprise to the world or to the U.S. citizens, but it won't be a surprise to Dukascopy watchers and people who watch our webinar, because we're talking about it and telling you heads up ahead of the curve as usual due to the math. The math lets us know what's going on in the end. No matter how it plays, the math does it. So that's where we are at the moment. You can see that, and it's breaking down. So we're over $5 down now from when I said it's going to close in the weekly sell, solely because it broke those manifolds. It's got nothing else to do but the math. All right, where do we go from there? We go to the other currency that matches up to things. In other words, when oil is going down, usually Canadian is going up, and you can see, you don't see it that well there. Let's put it up on here too. Let's put Canada on here. I think we did see it losing against the dollar. Or was it gaining against the dollar? It must have been gain. No, it has. Well, let's just take a look at it, and we'll be able to tell. It normally would be losing against the dollar. Okay, so it's going up now. Last couple days, it has not. It's not been following the rhythm. I mentioned that yesterday. If you played the webinar yesterday, I mentioned that it's not following the rhythm. It's fallen out of it, and it'll probably fall back into it, and it's falling back into it now. It's moving up. It's losing against the dollar, in other words. All right, let's go to the South African Rand. Right there, there's South African Rand. It's moving up, so we'd have to assume the same thing, and that is, let's put it up on J4X. More than likely, gold is going down. Right there, there's gold. Doesn't look like it there, does it? No. No, not at all. They're buying gold. Yesterday it went down, and today they're lifting it back up. I guess that's because they're buying dollars and they're buying gold. I guess that's what the name of the game is there. Let's put the Hinky Ashky back up again. And let's look at the gold over here. There it is right there. So it tried to go down a little bit yesterday, but we're still in a daily buy. And gold is pressing up. And we are, let's move that zero line again right there. We are both, you can see this, if the green line busts that manifold, there's no stopping it at this point. It'll get into the weekly buy and it'll just take off. In this case here, it's holding firm. That's all we're seeing at the moment. It's holding firm above the zero line. When we go in to look at the metals, we'll see what silver and copper and so forth are doing at the moment. All right, so last but least is the powerhouse of the BRICS, the B. That is the Mexican peso. The Mexican peso is going to be, if they join the BRICS, like I heard yesterday, they're like, what's kind of funny is we saw this movement here. We assumed it was just because of the banking situation, but now that I'm hearing that they may be joining the BRICS, it may put some pressure on the currency. But it will be the most strongest currency of them all against in the BRICS. There's no doubt about that. The Mexican peso is the most solid of all BRIC currencies. So we'll monitor it and see. But you can see right now it's losing against the dollar. At least maybe we finally have something we can measure the BRICS by. Because you can't measure them by the currencies themselves. I mean, the ruble's like 77 or 78 to the dollar at this point. The yuan is a fixed thing, so that doesn't mean anything. The real, you can't get a bid and offer. South African rand, you can. That's good. At least South African rand and the Mexican peso, we have a clearer shot of what's really going on. All right. All right, let's check out what's next. That finishes us. That's what that does. That finishes off on the currencies. If anybody wants to see a currency, let us know. What we're going to do now is I'm going to close that. Yes to that. There's the dollar. Not the dollar. This is the S&P 500. You can see there. Let's make it the whole screen. You can see it's still down at the lows, basically. There's the low of by about an hour ago. Is it an hour ago? About 15 minutes ago. Made a new low 15 minutes ago and then bounced up again. You can see the pressure's been on. We went into the sell here. It stayed in the sell from here all the way across to here. It just would not go into the buy. It tried. Look how close it got. It got very, very close. But plot 1, you can see there is minus 0.10. It missed it by that much. Okay. Let's go to... let's see, where are we going to go to? Let's go to the metals complex. So we saw gold. There's gold. It's lifting up because of the flight away from pairs and into the dollar and gold. So from there we go to the silver. There's the silver. It's lifting up. It's fighting hard. You got the fast algorithm trying to get through the zero line. And it is. It's through it. You've got the green slow algorithm trying to get through the manifold itself right here. Needs to get through that to start showing some real strength in here. It's been a nice little move. We've been in a daily buy for 4 days, but it's not exactly exploding. It's having has to deal with its issues, All right. Credit Suisse chairman comes out and says, the CEO, we are a strong bank. Good. Unfortunately, the world around it is not strong. All right. From there, we'll go over and look at the copper. Oh! We always say we're looking at the Chinese market when we look at copper. So obviously there's a little issue there this morning. Now I'm a little confused there. I thought we were in. I guess we go into a sell yesterday, or we didn't go into a sell yesterday. Let's go look at. Let me go look at, and let's see if we can put it up on the screen. What we sent out yesterday at the close. Where's that at? Right there. Here we go. So it's saying that. Let me put it up on the screen for you to see. That was yesterday's move, and it said it went into the sell. And we're in that weekly sell now for a 5th week. Now let's go. I want to go to the exchange and see what is the malfunction there, because we're seeing the same thing with the front month oil too. It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, like matching with the exchange data. All right, now let's go to, all right. And we go to, what is that, copper, right? There's copper, and that's the May contract. There we are. Yesterday is in a sell. You see it went into the sell like that. Now let's move that out of the way. And it was that too. Let's see, where's the malfunction? There's the buy and there's a buy. Those buys are good. Is that buy good also? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's a good buy. And then that's a good buy and sell. And that's a good sell. I'm not sure. I guess what we do is we just move this. Let's remove that and put it up here. I don't know. Somewhere along the line, the numbers changed somewhere. The math picked it up, and now. So yesterday, going into the close, we sent out this, as I said, warning that there was pressure in it. And matter of fact, I put it into the daily sell, but for some reason, it seems right. That's what's odd. I'll have to look into that. Try to figure out why it's doing that. That happens. It's data. Data is data. They change it overnight. Matter of fact, I've seen a couple things changing overnight, and it always confuses me. It's these black pools. They put the data in, and they try to treat it like it was that day, when in fact it's not. What else can I say about that? That's just that the fact that it's getting smashed this morning is interesting. All right, and then from there, because gold and silver are moving up, let's take a look at platinum. See what the platinum is doing. And there's the platinum. They're doing the same thing to platinum. Let's double check platinum here. On the exchange, they're trading the platinum like that also. This is April platinum. And yeah, it's exactly what they're doing. And the pressure's on today. They're really beating it up. And it tried to get into the buy, the weekly buy. And look at it, it rolled right over. It was up there. Matter of fact, it was as far up as it was down at one point on Monday. It was like, wow, this is really cool. I was saying, if we get the buy signal in that's on Monday's webinar or Tuesdays, maybe both. I probably mentioned it twice. I was like, wow, if they run platinum into a weekly buy, you can really start to trust this metals rally. Right now, all we have is gold trying to get into a weekly buy at this point. That's it. That is it. Alrighty. From there, we call it. I guess you could say we can look at palladium. Let's see what the palladium's doing, since we're looking at all the metals. Palladium's been in a buy for a couple days. From here. And still not going into sell, but it's not jumping into the weekly buy either. So we're not really seeing much buying. This is definitely dollar denominated action. That's what we're seeing. It's dollar denominated. All right, from there, where do we go from there? We go to the energies. Like we said, we saw this. See that moving down. We see natural gas. I understand that Europe has reduced its consumption of natural gas by 12 or 13%. That's pretty good. You see here, natural gas went into a buy yesterday, but they're pressing it down today, but it's still holding in the buy, and it's still in that weekly buy right here. Still holding up. All good there, you know. What else can we say about natural gas? It's been an interesting move, and I guess when we go over to the what is it um, the energy company down in Spain, right there. Let's see if it's under 26 today. No, 26.49.53. It was 80 something yesterday. 26.80. We're seeing a little relaxation, but not much. I understand now Israel's producing 10% of Europe's natural gas. So they're getting other countries online to, as a matter of fact, there's talk of building a pipeline now from the Mediterranean into France or something like that to move Israeli natural gas. There's no reason for them to be tied to a country that's going to be aggressive like it is. All right, from there, I guess that completes it basically completes the energy thing, as you can see here. And nothing major. All right. And then we can see at the same time, Timothy can see the action. How's that doing over there? Let's see that. So it went into the sell here, but it really didn't go down much. I mean, it went down, of course, and then went into the buy right there? No. Right there. Went into the buy right there, and it's just stutter stepping at this point. These three are in a buy. These three bars have been in buys right there. Here we go. They're going to take out the higher part of it now. And you can see the 15-minute is in a sell for all the way back to 15 minutes been in a sell since here at the 121.50 area, and then went down to 121. What's the low there? 120.42. Dropped the whole handle. Wow. And now you can see it's trying to get into the buy. It didn't do it there, but it did get into the buy there. And then you had that spike up. And then it went into the sell again there. And then you had it drop down and make a new low there. Or not new low, but took out these two lows. And now it's trying to get back into the buy in the 15-minute. Let's see, how much time's left in this? Like 2 minutes, right? That'll be interesting. Right there. 1 minute and 30 seconds. So that could be real fun. All right. At the same time, it looks like it's trying to take off. I don't know. We'll see. What else can we say about any of these products? I guess we go on to the two things we can talk about that I find to be important, and that is Bitcoin. The cryptos do lead the indices. We talked about it last week. We talked about it weeks before, blah, blah, blah. And on Monday when they started to firm up and it was up 2,000, I was like, during the webinar, I was saying, here we go. They're going to try to take them up. And sure enough, they did. They took them up. And they've gotten over 25. I think they're over 25,000 up until today. Let's see. Let's find Bitcoin. 41 seconds. Looks like it's going to close in a buy on the 15-minute. And there's Bitcoin. So he knocked it down, and now it's back over to 25 again. Earlier this morning, it was down at 23 or 24. What's the low? 24.65. So now it's back. It's up $600 off the low and almost unchanged for the day. We are flirting with the weekly buy on both right there, as you can see. The fast is what's interesting. What is very interesting, and I think I mentioned it mildly one day last week. No, it was this week I mentioned it at the beginning of Monday, Tuesday. Didn't understand why the slow or the fast is moving so slow. And the slow is really taking off. Look at that. It's, I don't know if that means it's going to 30 or what. I mean, it's really taking off. I would be much happier to see the fast join in above the zero line. That would make me very comfortable to say it's going to 30. And I think we need to see that. We need to see that fast, the little blue dashed line underneath. This one right here, the fast. It's lagging, and it says something. It says something's wrong, that it's not going to be a good move. It's like this one, where it was lagging and it's underneath. And then you see they still keep on popping it up. They get into a buy, and then all of a sudden it just pukes, just rolls over. I think the cryptos are incredibly good tools, and the Bitcoin in particular, and Ethereum. They're good tools to watch for the direction of the markets. Let's see, what do we got else to say? What else? I guess that's about it on the crypto. So now we go over to the stock indices again. And there's that. That's the intraday. And it's just kind of hesitating, as you can see here. It's locked at the bottom end of the range. The stock market opens up in 14 minutes or 13 and a half minutes. You can see here it did. It closed in the buy here, and it's not doing anything fantastic at the moment. Actually, it pushed into the sell here as it closed into the 15-minute buy. The 1 minute goes into a sell. So let's see if they bottom this and then take off from there. So it'll be the 1 minute leading the 15-minute in the end. Let's see if it takes out this Fibonacci line there of, I think it's, what is that? That's the 0.382. I think that's what it is. All right. We're going to go over here and we'll show you the actual daily right there. And it went into the daily buy yesterday, and they've just smacked us down. And our algorithm couldn't get into even, it showed some strength yesterday, but not enough to give any confidence. If they were both above inside the manifold and one crossed the zero line, I would have been like, okay, good, they're off to the races. But no, it was not there. Now let's see, let's show you the Tech 100. Right there. And you see it is trying to get into the weekly. Now it's holding up on the daily buy. As much as they knocked the S&P 500 down, it's trying to hold up in the daily buy. So they're not, the Tech 100. The Tech 100 is full of what do they call it? Stocks that are very interest sensitive. In other words, and obviously interest rates have been dropping, so it has to be putting a little floor into the tech arena overall. The Dow itself seems to be locked in the 520 to 600 minus area this morning. It's taking a little bit more on the chin than the NASDAQ. I believe the NASDAQ, where's the NASDAQ in this thing at this point? I think it's down. Let me see. So Bitcoin is up almost 2%, but Ethereum is down 0.75%. And let's see if I can find that the S&Ps are down 1.8%, and the Tech 100 here is down 1.4%. So it's the least of the falling knives. I guess that's the best way to describe that, because that's usually the way we always describe it on the trading floor. When things are really falling bad, you don't want to try to reach to grab it until it stops. Catching fallen knives. As you can see here, they are flirting with the 1 minute in the British pound over there on the left there for Timothy. You can see it's trying to bounce back up, and it's gotten up to the Fibonacci line, as we thought it would. And the 15-minute, which had closed in a 15-minute buy 15 minutes ago, now has 10 minutes left in it, and it's trying to lift back up. And we'll see how high they go. How high can they go? In the end result is, I think, that they're going to start calming down about the illiquidity. And as a friend, another friend called me today, another trader called me and asked me, he said, what's really going on? I said, we're in an era where people can move, you know, $2 or $3 billion off their phone. In other words, you don't have to call the bank. You don't have to go to the bank. You can actually move $1 billion out of your accounts and move it to another bank in a matter of seconds. And so that is really what's going on. Is that the speed of of execution is so incredible. I understand that 43 billion of SVB $1 billion came out of the accounts in a matter of like 10 minutes. $43 billion moved right out of the bank. Phew. That is incredible. That is wild, when you really think about it. So that's what we're seeing here. As we're seeing this type of action now, is that it's more of people moving things than it is anything else. Let's see where the Dow is. I was looking at the Russell. Let's just take a quick look at the Russell. I was looking at the Russell thinking, is the Russell going to tell us something? Is it going to lead us? Unfortunately, the Russell is the place where the most speculative money goes to. And right now, it's basically saying no mas. That's what it's saying, no mas. It's breaking the lows here, which is a real surprise. So speculative money, the Russell 2000 is the kind of like taking over where the old Tech 100 was. It's not speculative product anymore. Whereas, the Tech 100 at one time, you had companies in there that weren't really, really powerful. Now they're in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I mean, seven of the stocks in the Dow Jones Industrial Average are now NASDAQ stocks, and they're all in the Tech 100. So, it's a real index with, real earnings and the whole bit, The only thing is they are kind of cash intense. So borrowing is always part of the feature. Now, let's see. From there, we'll take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average itself, which is like sitting dead at around like $6 underneath 600. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. And you can see the weekly's still down. This is the new front month contract of June. And you can see we're at the lows right there compared to, it's not taking out that low here, whereas the Dow is. And obviously the Tech 100 is laughing at it, going, nah, no problem. No worries, mate. That's what it's saying right there. It's even in a buy still. It's not even challenging. The low is the close of that day, whereas the Dow right now is breaking the low of that day, which is kind of interesting in its own right. So, all right. Any questions out there, traders? We can go look around. If there's anybody who wants to see anything, we'll put it up there. Currency or whatever. Bonds. Let's take a look at the bonds. That's the epicenter of this whole action to begin with. There's the 30-year. You see they're reaching for the highs again now. And playing with the weekly buy with no problem. This is the 30-year. And you see here, the last time they were there is in the February and January period right there. So they're chasing after the highs of the year at this point, which means interest rates are dropping low. In other words, when it's going down, interest rates are rising. When it's going up, interest rates are going down. And that's what's going on right there. Now look at the width of the markets these days, the Friday and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then let's go to a shorter dated, and that is the 5-year note right there. Same situation. You see it's pressing. Matter of fact, at this point, it's still trying to go after the February high. And you can see the January high right there. Now, will they make a lower high, or will they take out those highs? I would say everybody's basically now waiting. I heard this. Let me go back a little bit. I understand that before they started to roll over in Europe, there was question. Someone came out from the ECB and said something about the half a point increase that's coming, and that seemed to really put pressure on the bank stocks over there. And then you had this contagion. So in other words, we came in this morning. Markets were up for the day. They were all up. They weren't down. It was some statement that came out. I heard it at the time. I was like, "Ooh, why did they say that?" I didn't think about it too hard at that moment, but I thought that's odd. Why are they making that so clear when we don't even know? They're speculating, and so over here in the States, we're thinking they're going to see a quarter point increase next week, and then the next one is in the first day or two of May. So we go from middle or towards the late of like next week in March, which is like almost the last week of March, until May. We see another Fed meeting. So it was like this ECB, the second largest economy in the world, put their foot in their mouth. That's pretty much what it came down to. Now they're doing damage control. Wouldn't surprise me if you see the stock market move back up today, just because it's a panic move down. Or maybe in the middle or later part of the day here in the States, it gets firmer. It'll be interesting to see the European close, which is 2.5 hours away. Basically 3 hours away electronically, but 2 hours away by floor trading, allegedly, if you want to call it floor trading nowadays. What else can we say about any of that? I guess that's about it there. That's what it's all showing us, is that the interest rates are dropping. And just as they seem to have failed yesterday, let's go widen this thing out again right there. As much as it's failed yesterday and they pressed them down, today they're taking them right back up again, and they've taken out those highs. So, and that's maybe, that's part of the reason we see the yen being so strong. They are organized when it comes to their interest rates, and they've got good control over their interest rate factor and the whole bit. Now, I guess the bigger question is, what type of title do we use for today? We've really been, it's been a fun and enjoyable type of day, when it comes to the oddity of it all. So, what can we use as a title? I don't know. I'm trying to think one up. What did we talk about today? And then I can figure out what the title has been. Let's see. Central banks bailing out, or at least firming up Europe at this point, or let's put it this way, they're not collapsing anymore. So that tells you that they're on the phones, and ECB is saying, that guy that put out that press release, don't worry about it. It doesn't mean a thing. And the same thing here in the States. The Dow has, for the webinar, the last half hour, the webinar, the Dow has only moved 5 points. That's it. It's down 583 points. It's actually firming up pretty firm here. Let's put it up on the screen. You'll see how our stock market opens up here. But you can see here, it's been locked between 90 and 80. Oh no, I guess there's the low. So it's been locked between 3,900 and 3,008. Was that 865? So it's been 35 points in here, just bouncing around. Where it dropped from this, when I got up and started paying attention to the market this morning, it was in the 940s. It was up in here. So then they made that announcement, and it was like, because this is all European trading right there. They weren't paying attention to anything. And so here, let's see. You can see here they started to lift it up a little bit. We'll watch it until to the first minute of the bell, and then I'm going to get out of here unless anybody has a question. And I got to come up with a topic. Let me think. What is the topic? I guess QE. There it goes. The market's open. They're buying the stocks a little bit as we speak. Nothing major. Just lifting them up. And we'll see. You can see we're in. Actually, you know what? We're in a buy here for since 13 minutes ago? No, 33 minutes ago. We've been in a intraday buy right here. And you can see same thing here. We've been in an intraday buy since right there. So you can see they've moved up, you know, I don't know, what's that? That's just only 5 points on the S&P at this point. And this thing is trying to lift up also. So today's title will be something about the QE. QE controls markets. Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. All markets. Because it is very orderly. All right, you can see there, just bouncing around. There's no real conviction to it, that's for sure. See, the pound is, oh, look at that. Pound is pushed into the sell side, this thing again. And, you know, it went into the buy here and never really took off beyond it. And the daily, you know, just pushed right into the sell here. What was that? 5 minutes ago. And it rolled over. And it's doing it here too. It just turned into a sell. All right, traders. This is Doc from North America. Tomorrow is TGIF pre-day. So it's Thursday. So we will all see you same time, same channel. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, later, traders.